All right, panel, we're back. Before we start with item 24, I believe, Mr. Reid, you had an interest to declare?
In item number 26.
Okay.
Which is, yeah, so I'm an acquaintance with individuals involved in the application, so I'll sit that one out.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else, staff or members, that has an interest to declare this afternoon? Okay, seeing none, so let's go to item 24, 220 Cottingham Street. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have 8 photographs of the subject property. We have a rendering from the applicant. We have 15 form letters in support from residents on Rathnelly Avenue, Poplar Plains Crescent, and Cottingham, as well as McPherson Avenue. And I am showing 2 speakers. Do we have both of them or just one?
Through you, Madam Chair, yeah, we have both.
Oh, okay. All right, do I have the agent on the line?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can now.
Okay, thank you. Alexander Pestrak Designs, 44 Charles Street West, Suite 2013.
Okay, let me just go to the speakers. I have 2 listed. I just want to confirm whether they're both in opposition or I know one is in support. So do I have Stacy or Michael Clayton on the line?
You do?
Hi, is this Stacy?
Yes. It is. It's Stacy Clayton.
And you're in support of the application?
I am, as is my husband, Michael Clayton.
Okay. Did you want to speak, or you just wanted to declare that you're in support? Sorry, do you have something playing? I can't hear you. Do you have something playing in the background?
No, I'm in a location that makes it a little difficult for me to speak, so I'm just declaring my support.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you have Ken Dowd on the line?
Yes, you do.
Hi, are you speaking in opposition to this application?
No, I'm just listening in. I'm the house owner. I just live around the corner, and that was my daughter who lives there.
Okay, so you're just listening in. You're not here to make a submission?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Pestrak, let me check with my panel whether we need a presentation or not. No. Panel members, do you have any questions for the agent? Okay, Mr. Pestrak, we've read all the submissions, and we don't need a presentation, we don't have any questions, and we're ready to go into committee. Is there anything you want to add that's not in the submissions before we go into committee?
Not that's not in the submission, no. Just that we have even more letters of support that you don't have, we received after submission date. So we now have 19 letters.
Okay. All right. Let's take it into...
sorry, and from both sides and from the rear.
Okay. Sounds like you have a lot of support for this application. So let's take it into committee, panel members. Ms. Hayes.
I'll start. I think this is indeed a minor variance. What's being proposed is not adding substantially to the already existing square footage. And I would be in support of the application with no conditions, and I'd be prepared to move that motion if my colleagues have no further comment.
Okay.
Okay, so that's my motion.
Ms. Hayes, is you seconding? Okay, so motion to approve, moved by Ms. Valentini seconding, and the motion's been moved by Ms. Hayes. All in favor? The application's been approved unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, we're now moving to item number 26, 242 Concord Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a covering letter from the agent, as well as a shadow study and presentation materials. Correspondence in support from number 246, 191, 254, and 230 Concord Avenue. Opposition from 244 Concord. And I believe we had some late correspondence come in yesterday, which is a copy of the presentation materials package from the applicant. Okay, do I have the owner on the line? Can you state your name and address?
Yes.
Hi, who's,
My name is Mason.
go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Mason White, agent and co-owner of 242 Concord Avenue.
Okay, Mr. White, I do show one speaker who is in opposition, which is the adjacent neighbor. So I'm going to ask you to do a presentation no more than 5 minutes. I'm going to start the clock now.
Sure. My family has lived in the neighborhood for about 14 years. We first moved into our two-story semi-house in 2007 with a 2-year-old and a baby on the way. The house had 2 bedrooms and an oversized bathroom. So when we first moved in, we renovated the second floor bathroom to accommodate a baby room and a smaller bathroom. Rather than move, we'd like to stay in our home, and we've made improvements, which we've made improvements to over the years. Our proposed addition will provide a proper bedroom for our teenage daughter and a larger shareable bathroom to accommodate use by all 4 of us. We've made these rooms as modest as possible. We're requesting 3 variances. We're requesting an FSI of 1.08. However, this is a bit misleading because our basement area is contributing to the overall density due to the elevation level of the basement and ground floor. Therefore, our existing density, even before the addition, is actually 0.92. However, if the basement were excluded, the existing density would be 0.62, and the requested density would be 0.78 FSI. The second variance is a request a building length variance of 1.5 meters. We've made the addition's depth as minimal as possible while still working with furniture layout in the existing house envelope, the brickwork. Given the lot width and the existing setbacks from the south to maintain garden access, depth is needed for the addition to work. The third variance request is to build a new deck within 0.05 meters of the south lot line. We request this because of our thin lot and the need for garden access from the south lot line. Could the moderator put up supporting material from November 24th on the screen?
Sure. Is there a particular page you want?
That one rotated would be great. Thanks. Our lot is the one with the orange square at the back. Our lot is very narrow, 15 feet wide by 136 feet long, or what we affectionately call our bowling lane. In fact, our lot is the thinnest on the block, but also one of the few without a rear addition. This depth makes it ideal for a rear addition. There are numerous precedents for 1- and 2-story rear additions in the neighborhood, and many are evident on our street and block. Our neighbor to the south at 236 Concord recently completed a 1-story rear addition. We did explore adding a 3rd floor, but the complexity and cost of removing the roof and reinforcing the party wall are significant, not to mention the impact to the renovation work we have already done to the existing house. This approach would also require variances in both FSI and height. Therefore, extending to the rear is the most feasible and minimal to suit our needs. We understand that there are concerns about direct sunlight and access to sky from our neighbor to the north. We've spoken with them recently and completed some new studies to address this, which I can show. To conclude, we believe the variance requests are minor and appropriate and that they are in keeping with the densification of the city given the challenges of semi-detached homes. The modest addition will allow us to stay in our home and still accommodate the spatial needs of our growing family. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. White. We'll have you back, and we'll have you, any panel member questions when you come back after we hear from the opposition.
Matthew Swig, you've been unmuted.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi. Can you please start by stating your name and address for the record, and then I'll start the clock.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Matthew Swig. I live on the north side and adjoining 242 Concord. We've been there a similar amount of time. We have 3 children. We're very sympathetic to our neighbors' needs, and I think we'd be supportive of a different shape or form of expansion. We've provided a letter with some graphics, which I trust you've all reviewed. I don't know that we need to show those. I do appreciate our neighbors providing the updated graphics that address some of our concerns and the tree being deciduous. We did place the tree there with passive solar architecture principles in mind, where it would provide us with some cooling effect on our deck and house in the summer, and heat and sunlight in the winter and in spring and fall as well. And the proposed addition, our concerns are the extent of it. So the fact that it's we're adjoined, so it's 2 inches or 50 millimeters away from our property and our deck. And as well, the extent, the distance, so that you can see the sun in that image, that's to the south. So this will be pretty well completely putting all of our windows in shade on the side of our house that does get the sun. And as the applicant mentioned, it is a long, very narrow house. And so, I mean, our feeling is extending it further is going to make it even longer. We talked about how we're doing the same type of extension, but it doesn't suit our needs. It doesn't give us an extra bedroom, which would be more useful. And so, I mean, I think our objection is to the distance out and the height, which I don't think is necessarily a breaking any of the rules, but other than the density, which we're not necessarily opposed to. We've discussed some concessions, such as bringing it in a bit. The original discussion was 10 feet or 3 meters, which wouldn't require a variance. And as well, stepping it in or taking the second level off. I think the second level is really the main issue. So, I mean, we could live with 1 floor or a reduced distance out, but this is really providing a big solid black wall right on our south-facing views, so it's reducing our sky view, and as well, almost all of the direct sunlight coming into our house for the full year, and a lot of it on our deck, which is where we spend a lot of our time. So, I mean, I won't, you know, we have other concerns, mostly not related to zoning, so, you know, and we want to stay on good terms with our neighbors, so we're just sticking to that area of concern, and I will leave it at that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Panel members, do you have any questions of the speaker? Okay, seeing none. Thank you. Mr. White, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Could you please speak to
Yeah.
the issues raised by your neighbor?
Certainly, certainly. Could the moderator share the photos submitted by the letter of objection on the screen again, please? If you could go to the first pairing. So we believe the after photos in this letter are misleading. First, most of the after photos exaggerate the darkness of shadows by applying a dark tone on top of the existing shadows, thereby doubling the darkness and canceling indirect light. The first before and after photo pair shows this exaggeration best. Compared with the before photo, the after photo distorts the shadows to be twice as dark. The altered photo even darkens the kitchen interior, which would actually continue to be illuminated based upon the assumption of light at that time by indirect light from the southwest, west, and northwest. Additionally, the panoramic photo that you see, which I believe is the second page, gives a false impression of the scale of our addition because of the fisheye effect and the placement of the camera as it pans across that view. We do appreciate our neighbors' concern, and we like having them as our neighbors. We spoke to them more than a year ago about our need for an addition and asked whether they too had a shared interest in pursuing this, but they said they were not ready to make an addition yet, so we continue to look into options independent. Over a month ago, we presented the submitted proposal to them and discussed the extension in person on our porch. They expressed an understanding of our needs and the proposal. They'd even remarked that their own linden tree, which they planted about 6 years ago, had a more significant impact on their access to sunlight and sky. After we discovered their objection letter this weekend, we reached out to them again. They mentioned that they're now actually also considering an addition to their house. Although it might make sense to coordinate additions, we have different needs and different timing of those needs because of the age of our families. But we did agree that we would continue sharing information between us. Could the moderator put the supporting material from November 30th up on the screen? It's
Sorry, which one were you looking for?
November 30th. It was, it's online.
Check.
It's been uploaded.
Check this up.
Yeah, hold on.
Thank you for your patience.
This is item 26. Okay.
Yeah, it's the sup, it's got the shadow, yeah. That's it? Is that what
Great,
you? Yeah.
thank you. Yes, please, thank you. In response to the neighbor's concern, we did look more closely at a detailed study of the winter sun only, since that was the concern they had expressed. The first page shows the existing condition on the left at 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. on November 1, and the proposed addition on the right at the same times and date. The pink tone you see shows the impact of the additional 1.5 meter building length on the deck at 244 Concord for these November dates. If you go to the next page, this would show December 21, darkest day of the year, as we know. And again, the pink tone is the shadow of the 1.5 meter variance request at both 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. And the third page shows, we just picked a midpoint between December and March, February 1. Once again, the pink shape on the right is the shadow of the 1.5 meter variance request. Given that 70% of the days in November to February are overcast, homes are more dependent on ambient light than direct light in these months. In addition, the east-west lot orientation makes it difficult to have no impact from direct sunlight to the north. In the fourth page, the next page, if you could, there's a study looking from the north to see the impact of the 1.5 meter variance on the facade of 244 Concord in December 1 and February 1 at 3 p.m., late afternoon in the depth of winter. The pink tone is the difference of the 1.5 meter length and shadow of the variance request. While we recognize that the variance request will reduce a slice of direct sunlight from the south in the winter, our proposal does not significantly impact year-round access to sky and indirect light. These updated studies show the minor impact of the variance request, and that 244 will still receive direct sun every day in addition to almost 120 degrees of indirect light November through February. And finally, on the next page, you'll see some photos of the linden tree in the yard. This is in May, just to give you a sense of the density of that tree, which is not contributing in a minor way, and it may do so selectively in seasons, but it is in this condition between May and October. And if you could go 2 more pages. So this is looking from my yard, this is looking at the fence, and there's a photo from Sunday. It does have dense branches. So there are other contributions to impact of light and views. Although we recognize that each case is unique, I also wanted to note a recent precedent at a Committee of Adjustment hearing on November 3rd. A 2-story rear addition to the west at 124 Bedford Road, which is an east-west lot orientation, had a building length variance request of 1.6 meters. Despite objections from neighbors and light and sky, it was unanimously approved by the committee. We respect our neighbors and understand their concern, but the length variance request allows a proper bedroom for a growing family.
Mr.
We will stay in touch
Swag,
with them.
you're over
Design
6
detail.
minutes. Can you wrap it up, please? Hello?
We hope to continue neighborly discussion with them in our addition and any future addition they are considering. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Panel members, do you have any questions for the owner, the homeowner? Okay, seeing none. All right, let's take it into committee. Any comments, Ms. Valentini?
Thank you. Well, I appreciate what the neighbor is saying about concerns about the addition. When I look at this, particularly within the context of the area, I don't find this to be an overly large addition by any stretch, and the numbers speak to that as well. I thought it was helpful that the applicant noted that and I did note it myself, the FSI is currently over the existing or what is permitted. So I don't see this to be a very large addition. And in terms of the impact in terms of light, I'm satisfied with the shadow studies that it's, while there will be some impact, I don't think it's going to be significant given there's a tree and the impact in terms of the light in the shadow study, the shade is not significant in my view. I think it does. In the years I've said on this, I've seen a lot larger additions at the rears of houses. So, and they've, the applicant hasn't decided to fill in the step back to the one side. It's just doing an addition on the back, which I think is very modest. So I'm in support of the variance. I don't know if my colleagues want to jump in, or I'm happy to bring a motion if they don't have any other comments. Okay, on that basis then, in my view, it meets the 4 tests, so I'd like to bring a motion forward for approval without any conditions.
Okay, Ms. Hayes. All right, motion to approve, moved by Ms. Valentini, seconded by Ms. Hayes. All in favor? Your application's been unanimously approved. Thank you, and staff, you noted that Mr. Reed stepped out. Okay, thanks, everybody. Let's move on to item number 27, 373 Mortimer Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. I don't have any further correspondence. I do show one speaker listed in opposition. Do you have them on the line? Okay. All right, Mr. Stickney, are you there?
I'm here, Madam Chair.
I know I said your name, but if you can just state it for the record, that'd be appreciated.
Sure. David Stickney, 149 Lauder Avenue, Toronto, Ontario, M5R3M5.
And, okay, I neglected to mention we got some late materials for this application. We have a staff report. They're recommending conditions and, again, opposition from 375, the neighbors. So I am going to ask you to do a presentation. I'll start the clock when you start speaking because we do have the neighbor speaking in opposition.
Of course. Madam Chair, this is for a second-story addition to a house. There are modifications to the front wall as well. There are 5 variances required. The first variance is for coverage. I would note that all additions, with the exception of the front bay window, are straight up. So the coverage at the moment is essentially the coverage that we're asking for as a variance. The height of the building is the next 2, and I would point to the planning report, which requests condition of the elevations, and that is because the front, there are gables on all the front 3 sides, 2 sides in the front, which if you look at the drawing for the side elevations and the front, the eaves are complying with the bylaw standard of the 7 meters. They are 6.99 meters. So we do comply with that. The planning report indicates that the back of the main side ridge board, everything is sloping to each side, so that the variance number 3 is related to the height of the gable on the front wall only, and the height of the building is the center line behind the ridge, where the roof slopes down to the compliant eave heights. The architectural feature of number 4 is that the eaves encroach in the side yard setback. I would note that the existing eaves are actually encroaching on the neighbor's property, and this proposal rectifies all issues of encroachment that exist now. And that the 5th variance is specifically related to the front yard setback, which is modified by the addition of the bay window. Otherwise, all the walls of the house are the existing walls. We're simply going straight up. I would also note that on the east side, there's a driveway between the 2 houses of 2.1 meters in width, as well as our small setback of a few inches. But the shade that would be cast by our additions would be essentially on the roof and on the driveway of the easterly house. So the impact would not be experienced by any interior space of the building. And I'm happy to address any questions.
Okay, thank you. I think what we'll do is we'll go to the opposition and then we'll have you back. And if the panel has questions, we'll ask them then. Okay. Marlena?
Hi, yes, good evening.
Hi. Can you please state your name and address for the record?
Yes, good evening, everybody. My name is Madeline Leiva, and I am the owner of 375 Mortimer Avenue.
Okay. Marlena, I'm not sure, are you really close to the mic? We can't understand you very well.
Yes, okay, I'm going to speak louder. Can you hear me better now?
A little bit, but
Yeah, Marlene, if you have a headset or using your handheld device instead of the speaker, that may be helpful.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Yes, thanks. So Marlena, I'm going to start the clock now, and you have 5 minutes. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, basically, I would like to ask the committee to adjustment to review the process minor variancy on to the property 373, basically because we are concerned about the blocking of our sunlight on my driveway, and also the sunlight and sunshine on the back. I should say that this will be the first two-story house that is going to build on my block. My next neighbor sold the house, so but this is my first time that I do this in years.
They want to increase the high.
Yeah, they want to increase the high about what is allowed by the law. So I'm not concerned too much about the second story, okay? But as long as they stay by the law, whatever is permitted by the law. And also the backyard, the sunshine, the sunlight I mentioned, and also the front, because they're going to extend the porch a little bit. Well, you can see there, I'm not that good with the calculation, but it's gonna block my side view on my front. So basically, that is our concern. My husband and I, we are concerned about the sunshine, the sunlight on my driveway, and also I would like to ask the applicant about the scaffold, when it's gonna be on my driveway, if there's any damage on my asphalt, if they're willing to replace any expenses if they do, or fix it, because that is gonna be on my driveway also. So basically, this is our concern. This is the first time that any of my neighbor, they build a second house, which I don't have any problem with that. But as long as they are within whatever is permitted by law.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Panel members, any questions of the speaker? Okay, just before I go to the agent, just to let you know, Marlena, that this committee does not have jurisdiction over any kind of agreements with respect to damage to your property. That's something you'd have to work out with your neighbors on your own. But I'll have the agent come back now and speak to your height concerns and things related to the variances. Okay? Thank you very much. So, Mr. Stickney, are you there?
I'm here, Madam Chair.
Alrighty, so go ahead. I'll give you 5 minutes to respond.
Sure. Well, sure. Essentially, the houses being on the south side of the street, the rear yards where you spend your summertime and spring and fall, are in sunlight for the day. I mean, the sunlight on the driveway is not something that I understand to be a concern. I can say that we had discussed the issue of applying the exterior conditions to this house from a scaffold that was suspended so that the carpentry would be done. But I can guarantee that the owners would make good on any issue related to damage to property. I've done work with them before, and it's quite common to simply, anything that is damaged during construction is taken care of. I would comment that she is correct that this is the first two-story, a second-story addition on the south side of this particular block. All the houses behind on the side streets, or not all of the houses, most of the houses behind, and the two adjacent houses behind are two-story, and 40% of the houses immediately around are all two-story. And the house immediately to the east of them is just sold and will soon be a two-story. So I think the question is really it's the height of the ridge board an issue. And again, the roof design was specifically done to allow more light to their side of the property behind the main ridge board, which is where the leisure portion of the property is. So I will leave that with the committee. Look forward to your decision.
Okay, let me see if the members have any questions. Anybody question for the agent? Seeing none? Okay, Mr. Stickney, we're ready to go into committee. Anything you want to add that's not already been said or is in the submissions?
We're good. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Alrighty. All right, we're in committee. Panel members? Mr. Bayat.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Having looked at the applicant and application, and the variances requested, and the explanations of the applicant and the agent, I'm quite satisfied that this is a reasonable application for change. While there may not be any two-story units within that immediate block, just down the road on Mortimer, there are a number of two-story homes. In fact, I noticed one that's almost 3 stories. So I am quite happy to move forward with a motion to approve. I believe there is a condition by planning, and I think that's the only condition that is attached to this particular application.
Yep.
So I'd be quite happy if my colleagues don't have any other comments. I would like to bring forward a motion to approve with condition, with the conditions that, from planning.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve the application, including the condition in the November 24th planning report, moved by Mr. Bayat. Do I have a seconder? Mr. Reid. All in favor? Your application's been unanimously approved with that condition. Thank you. Item number 28, 24 Mortimer Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. No further correspondence, and I don't show any speakers. Do I have the agent on the line?
Yes, I'm here, Trevor Keir.
Hi. I don't think we need a presentation. Let me see if there's any questions, panel members. Okay, Trevor, we've read the materials. There are no questions. We're ready to go into committee. Is there anything you want to add that's not in the submissions?
No, just that we feel that it's very minor and that there's precedence for the removal of the parking requirement. That's about it.
Okay. Panel members, we're in committee. Mr. Reid.
Thanks, Chair. I think this is a very minor application. The variances themselves are are minuscule, some of them. But I think it makes sense. It's just a removal of a one-story addition and construction of a two-story. I think it's modest and has no negative impacts on the neighbors. So I move to approve with no conditions.
Gee, three of you at the same time. Okay, who wants to second? All right, Ms. Hayes. Okay, so motion to approve, moved by Mr. Reed, seconded by Ms. Hayes. All in favor? Okay, your application's been unanimously approved. Thank you. Item number 29, we have before us for 31 Cummings Street, a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, presentation materials submitted by Mr. Penzo, the agent. We have staff reports from planning asking for a condition. Forestry's asking for condition number 3. We have correspondence in support from number 15 Cummings and 18 Wardell, as well as 8 form letters in support from residents on Cummings and on Degrassi. And we received late correspondence from the agent, as well as a revised site plan from the agent. And I believe I have one speaker showing here. Do you have that person? Okay. Do I have the agent on the line?
Hi, good evening, Madam Chair. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. Can you just state your name for the record?
Yeah, it's Luca Penzo,
Okay.
the agent for the owners at 31 Cummings Street.
You're speaking on behalf of the owners, is that correct? Because I have them listed here as speakers. Yes?
No, that is correct. I'm speaking on behalf of them.
Okay, just bear with me for a second. I want to go to the speaker. I'm not sure if we need a presentation or if there's a concern or if they want to speak.
I have a presentation for...
Okay, just bear with me 1 second.
Hi, Catherine, you've been unmuted.
Hi, Catherine, are you there?
Catherine or Catherine Craig? Through you, Madam Chair, I can try to give her another call.
Okay, Mr. Penzo, while we're trying to get a hold of the speaker, which I'm not sure if they're in full opposition or not, in the meantime, I'd like to go to the panel to see if there are any questions. Does anybody have any questions while we're trying to connect with Ms. Valentini?
Just something minor. The revised plans that you submitted that we have before us, what's changed? Was there just a labeling thing changed? Is that what's changed on the plans, or can you explain that? Why do we have revised plans?
Labeling on... Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you start over? Because we're muted. We didn't hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, so there was no actual change to the plans themselves. It was just a labeling error on the directions of north, south, east, and west on the elevation sheets. The site plan is correct. The way the north is labeled and all of our variances are correct. But for example, the rear elevation was marked as north, but now it's just rear elevation is marked as south.
Perfect, thank you.
No problem.
Anybody else have any questions?
Hi, Catherine, are you there? Through you, Madam Chair, we tried to get in touch with Catherine, but we can't.
You can't reach the speaker. Okay, Mr. Penzo, we don't need a presentation. There are no further questions from the panel. Is there anything that you want to add or tell us before we go into committee? We're unable to get in touch with the speaker that's listed.
That I provided.
Okay, I'm really sorry, but we missed the first part because you were muted, so I need you to start over again. Sorry.
No problem. No, I have nothing to add as long as the panel has had time to go through the presentation I submitted a couple weeks ago. I just want to note that we do have the 10 letters of support, all from adjacent neighbors, and planning has provided a report recommending that the committee approve the application.
Right, so you're okay with the conditions in the report, the planning report?
Yeah, so I did speak with planning. They just didn't note that anything about the basement storage setback. So I just wanted to be clear that they are in support of the basement storage setback. There's no opposition from planning with that. So the revised report from them has included that basement storage setback at the rear, that they have no issue with it.
So that's the November 24th report, right, we're talking about?
Exactly, and there's correspondence with the planner as well that was uploaded.
Okay. All right, so we're ready to go into to committee, and you're ready. You're aware of forestry condition number 3 also, correct?
Yeah, we have no problem with the forestry condition.
Okay. So, Mr. Bayat, did you have a question, or are we going into committee?
Sorry, just a question for the applicant again. Sorry for the late question. Variance number 14, 15% of the rear yard will be maintained as soft landscaping. Could you speak to that, please?
Yeah, so the rear yard, currently there's an existing deck in the rear yard. Obviously, the rear yard is quite small, so they want to be able to utilize some portion of it to have a dining table or a seating area. The hardscape that we do have is just part of a walkway to get to the stairs up to the deck and to the stairs down to the basement. The rest of the backyard is all softscape, as well as the front. We included as much softscape as possible. The only hardscape at the front is the front entrance steps. So, and everything aside from steps and entrance to steps is all softscape.
Would it be correct to assume that this particular lot is smaller than the neighboring lots?
It's much, much smaller. This particular lot is only 6.3 meters wide by 15.2 meters deep. It's extremely unique and small.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Just bear with me 1 second. We're just double checking the planning report date. Okay. Okay, Mr. Penzo, we're just going to put the planning report on the screen because I'm told there's a December 1st report and I don't seem to have it. So I just want to make sure that we're on the same page here with your understanding, because I have a November 24th.
Exactly. To clarify, the original report had 4 conditions. Now this one that was submitted today has 5. They basically just added what I was referring to for the basement storage area as item number 2.
It's not in the sub.
Just that it should.
Okay, so Madam Deputy Secretary Treasurer has the actual December 1st report. Staff they're not able to put it on the screen, or actually, hang on, he might be able to through another way if you can bear with us. I just want to be sure that we're approving the right one. There it is. Okay. So that's the one that has a 5th. Can you scroll down? Is there a 5th condition?
Yeah, so if you look at condition number 2, that was never there, number 2, which references the basement storage, 1.2 meters from the rear.
Oh, so it's number 2 was added.
That wasn't there before.
Yeah, number 2 was added, but there's a total of 5 conditions then. And it's the December 1st report. Okay. Okay. So anything else that we need to clarify here before we go into committee? Mr. Penzo, are you okay now?
Oh, yeah, I'm okay now. Basically, all the conditions just say that everything should be built as per the plans, aside from condition number 5, which has requested the 1.5 meter high privacy screen along the east edge of the third floor deck. And yeah, we're okay with that.
Okay.
No problem.
I believe we're good. We have the right report, so we're good to go into committee now. So it would be the December 1st planning report and forestry condition number 3. So we're in committee, members. Ms. Valentini.
Thank you. Some of these variances, or many of them, are driven by the size of the lot. As the agent had said, it's a small lot. It's smaller than some of the surrounding lots. But that being said, the proposed built form, in my view, fits in nicely with what is currently existing in the area. Right now, it's a tiny, small house, and it'll complement other built forms around. So in my view, it fits in with what's going on in the neighborhood, and I believe it meets the 4 tests. So I'd like to bring a motion forward for approval of the application, subject to the planning conditions, which the December 1st ones, the most up-to-date ones you put on the screen, and urban forestry number 3.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Bayat. So that motion is outlined by Ms. Valentini, moved by her, seconded by Mr. Bayat. All in favor? Your application's been unanimously approved. Thank you very much. Item number 30. 55 Charles Street East. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a covering letter from Mr. Goldberg, as well as a shadow study, and engineering letter by Soberman Engineering, site-specific bylaws affecting the subject property, presentation materials from Mr. Goldberg, as well as a staff report from Community Planning that is requesting a refusal, and if not, conditions be applied. We have received late correspondence yesterday, another covering letter from Mr. Goldberg, as well as correspondence in opposition. And I don't show any speakers other than the agents. So do I have the agent on the line?
Yes, Madam Chair, it's Michael Goldberg, Goldberg Group, 2098 Avenue Road in Toronto, M5N, M4M.
That's okay. Don't worry about the postal code. We're okay.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. So I'm not sure we need a presentation, panel members, but there might be some questions. So does anybody have any questions about this application? Okay, so far I don't see any questions. Mr. Goldberg, is there anything that you want to add that wasn't covered in the present or in the materials that you submitted, or anything specific you would like to focus on before we go into committee?
If the committee does not want a full presentation, I'm fine with that, Madam Chair. The main point I would raise, just for the purpose of clarification, is in my November 26th letter, I am recommending an alternative condition 1, which provides for a very specific section 45.9 condition in terms of the quantum. And the basis of that is set out in my November 26th letter, which basically is, it's the exact same rate that was applied 2 years ago in the Section 37 agreement. And there's no need, no warrant to renegotiate a rate, considering how fresh this rate was. And the owner is happy to provide that Section 45.9, which is identical to the Section 37 that was applied 2 years ago. And in my November 26th letter, I provide very specific alternative language.
Okay, I did read your letter, although I don't think that this committee is really sort of in a position to apply rates without staff having sort of given us the go-ahead, because we're not part of those negotiations.
Yeah, if I may, just for the benefit of the committee, the problem with the staff recommendation is it's suggesting that it be a Section 45.9 to the satisfaction of the chief planner and in consultation with the local councillor. Once that happens, Madam Chair, should you in your wisdom, decide to approve this with that condition, and the negotiations are not a reasonable negotiation, then we have no recourse at that point. So and the reason why we're suggesting, in fairness, the specific quantum, as we've set out in our letter, is so that we're not really held captive to a negotiation we can't control and we can't appeal, and it could end up being really quite unreasonable. So I do respectfully request that you do consider that, because the alternative is really an open-ended consideration where we have no recourse to it.
Okay, I understood. I understand where you're coming from, but please understand where the committee's coming from, that, we can't just approve numbers that are sort of, they come to in different negotiations that go on and have gone on. So I don't think we can just take those numbers and apply them in any decision. However, having said that, I'm sure other panel members, Ms. Hayes, would like to weigh in on this.
I was just going to ask, given the report stated November the 24th, did you have an opportunity to discuss that concern with respect to the wording of that condition with the planning department?
We did not.
Thank you. Yeah, I would share the concerns of the chair. We are not aware or party to these types of discussions and the rates that are generally negotiated or what might have been the appropriate amount. And I would myself, and I'll speak for myself, feel uncomfortable making that determination without having some type of submission from the city in response to your proposal.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, Ms. Valentini had her hand up, so I'll just hear from her also.
Okay.
It actually isn't, I think I've jumped the gun. If you wanted to respond to the calculation of the rates, it's something completely different. So I'm not sure if you finished speaking to the issue raised by the chair and Ms. Hayes, but I wanted to talk to the height request. So I can let you finish with the conditions if you wanted to talk about that, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I suppose what we have before us, just finish off on the condition aspect. There's two options available. One would be to delete the condition altogether. The second would be to, I suppose it remains the option within the appeal period to have those negotiations, if we're able to do that, and hopefully come to a suitable resolution with the chief planner at that point. So if that is the wisdom of committee, we would, we'll live with that.
Okay, anybody else to this condition? Otherwise, I'll move to Ms. Hayes, or I'm sorry, Ms. Valentini, about your height concerns.
Thank you. Thank you. So staff obviously has recommended, we refuse the height request, and this zoning bylaw it's from 2019, so not that much time has passed. And I'm trying to understand why you're coming back for a request for extra height. And is it because of OPA 406, or what has happened that you require the extra height, first of all? And then if I look at OPA 406, I seem to understand on that, I'm trying to get my directions straight in terms of, I think this building's on the south side of Charles. The building heights are 46, 47, and then what your client has proposed, or the proposal here, is 48. So they seem to be what I would think to be more compatible in height at what your client currently has, rather than the 50. So can you speak to that issue?
I can.
and try to make me understand how, I mean, the buildings on the north side seem to be taller or are taller, and the ones on the south. So in my view, 48 seems more compatible with 46 and with the other two buildings that are at 46 and 47. So
sure. If I can ask the committee to put on our presentation material, please.
Sure, just give us a minute.
That's it. Okay, so if you can just turn the page to the next page, please. All right, so there's a few layers to this. The yellow building is the subject site, and you can see the small amount of floor that we're seeking. On the left-hand side is the corner of Yonge and Bloor, stepping down. You could see across the street, there's the 56 and 55 story building immediately across the street. And then adjacent, there's at 45 Charles, there's a 47 story building, then a 46 story building going west. And then east of us, there's a 47 story building. In my opinion, first of all, I will say that when the staff recommendation was made of this, the staff recommendation was written before the minister had approved OPA 406. So minister approved OPA 406 with 244 modifications. They brought in the policies relating to proximity to the subway and the more intense relating to the subway. They altered the transition policies relating moving from the corner, both in an east-west and a north-south direction. They changed the words from stepping down and transitioning down to a lesser density as you move away from the corner. So we know through experience of many approvals recently that there's not a uniform, like a clothesline approach to transition or lessening of density as you move away from the corner. And as you could see here, from a compatibility point of view, there's an imperceptible difference between the 48 and the 50 stories here. And in any event, from the policies are very qualitative in nature. They're not quantitative, and they don't prescribe the manner in which stepping or lessening of density should take place. So qualitatively speaking, in this high density neighborhood, this 50-story building certainly is compatible. The manner in which it steps from across the street satisfies the qualitative nature of the policies, and it will continue to step down as you move further east and further south. So I think the difference is almost imperceptible. And to answer your first part of your question, Ms. Valentini, was that yes, the ministerial approval of OPA 406 made the difference and the motivation to apply for it, because there were optimization policies contained in the ministerially approved version of OPA 406 that didn't exist when the staff recommendations were made.
Okay. When did those ministerial approvals, what was the date of those?
They came in June 19th, 2019, and the staff recommendations were prepared before then. And nobody knew what the minister was going to do until the minister did it.
Sorry, what was the date again?
June.
I believe it was June 19th, 2019.
The staff report suggested, though, that this went to City Council on July the 16th.
Yes, but the staff report was prepared beforehand.
And there was no discussion in between the time of the staff report and it going to council?
No, at that point, the discussions were fresh and the discussions were quite recent, and the owner did accept it. But with the passage of time, they've given reconsideration, and there's no doubt that in the last 2 years, there has been an emphasis both in staff reports and certainly in applications that when you're on top of a junction of the two most major subway stations, in the city of Toronto, there's going to be a more intense consideration. One glaring example of that is the northeast corner of Bloor and Bel Air, where a 72-story building was approved on the Harry Rosen site since that time. And that was for, extremely large floor plates, 72 stories, and intervening between between Yonge and Bel Air, there are shorter buildings along that stretch, which demonstrated that both the SASP 211 and the OPA 406 are not requiring a uniform stepping down of density, but a stepping down of density from the intersection of Yonge and Bloor.
Okay. Any other questions, Ms. Valentini?
So 45 Charles and 68 Charles, 45 Charles and 33 Charles, those are currently, are they built?
Yes.
I'm assuming. And when were those approved or built? How old are they?
I think I have that information. No, I don't have the information. I just have the names of those condos. They were built within probably the last 6 or 7 years.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Question? Okay. Mr. Goldberg, I think we're ready to go into committee. Is there anything you want to add? I think we've covered most of the concerns.
I really can't help myself in saying that as a planner, I will put to the committee that the 4 tests pursuant to Section 45(1) of the Planning Act have been satisfied in terms of general intent and purpose of the OP, the zoning bylaw. This is very minor, and it's appropriate in the circumstance.
Okay, let's take it into committee, panel members. Mr. Reid.
I'm happy to start. I agree with the applicant that I think these are very minor variances that are being requested given the context, the physical context and the policy context. I think a couple floors on the top of a building on a subway stop is not is really basically imperceptible from the ground. I don't agree though with the suggested condition that the applicants put forward about assigning a dollar value. I think that's inappropriate for us to make that determination of what that value would be, especially because he has based it on a two-year-old number. So I don't think that's fair. So I'm going to be supporting this application subject to planning staff's recommendation in their report. And does anyone have any other comments to add? No. So I'll make that a motion to approve the application subject to the condition in the November 24th planning report.
Okay, so Mr. Bayat, you're seconding? Okay, so that motion, including the planning condition, moved by Mr. Reid, seconded by Mr. Bayat. All in favor? Your application's been approved with that condition. Thank you. Okay, the next item number 31. Just give me a second here. 51 Cambridge Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans and elevations, presentation materials from Inroads Consultants. We have correspondence in support from number 63, as well as a 17 signature petition in support signed by owners and occupants on Cambridge Avenue. And I believe there's nothing in the supplemental agenda, and I don't show any speakers. Do I have the agent on the line?
Good evening, Madam Chair, members. Ida Evangelista on behalf of the owner of 51 Cambridge.
Okay, thank you. Panel members, this is truly minor. We're looking at one variance here. I don't think we need a presentation. Do you have any questions for the agent? Seeing none, Ms. Evangelista, we've read the materials. We do not need a presentation. We're ready to go into committee. Is there anything you want to add that's not in the materials we have?
No, Madam Chair, I concur. It's very minor. We would like to add 7 square meters. So you can go ahead and go into committee.
Okay, thanks. So we'll take it into committee. Mr. Bayat.
Madam Chair, in agreement with you and the applicant, this is indeed very minor. No need for any discussion. If my colleagues have no comment to add, I'd like to move the acceptance of this application as is, no conditions.
Okay, seconded by Ms. Hayes. So motion to approve, moved by Mr. Bayat, seconded by Ms. Hayes. All in favor? Your application's been unanimously approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, have a good evening.
You too. I'll talk to you again.
Yeah. Bye. All right.
Bye.
Item number 32, 22 Lansdowne Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 3 photographs of trees that are located near and on the subject lands, previous decision affecting the property. We have a 5-signature petition in support by owners on Lansdowne Avenue. And I don't show any speakers. Do I have the agent on the line?
Hello, yes, it's David Riley here. Address 1547 Bloor Street West.
Hi. I don't believe we need a presentation. Panel members, do you have any questions for the agent? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Riley, we're ready to go into committee. We've read the materials. There are no questions. Is there anything you want to add that's not in the submissions?
No, just thank you all for staying late tonight and seeing us all through.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
We really did
better
not
than
want to
canceling
defer
and
this
rescheduling.
to next year, so we're doing our best
No.
here. But thanks for your patience also. Okay, let's take it into committee, panel members. Ms. Hayes.
Thank you. This is indeed a minor variance. What's being proposed is not out of character. There would be little impact from what's being proposed beyond the built form that's currently there. And it is no deeper than the neighbors. And if my colleagues have no further comments, I would move to approve the application with no conditions.
Okay, Mr. Bayat, you're seconding, so motion to approve, moved by Ms. Hayes, seconded by Mr. Bayat. All in favor? Your application has been approved. Okay. The next item is item number 33, 24 Coates Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have a covering letter from the applicant, an arborist report from Tree Doctors, Inc., presentation materials, and a shadow study from the applicant. We have correspondence expressing concern from the neighbor at 22 as well as 26, so both adjacent neighbors. And I'm showing 2 speakers. Do we have them both? Okay. Do I have the agent on the line?
Hi, yes. My name is Paige Reisha from Lunink at 222 The Esplanade, Unit 1121, Toronto, Ontario. I'm the designer and the applicant.
Hi, I do have opposition speakers, so if I could ask you to do a brief presentation, no more than 5 minutes. I'm going to start the clock now.
Sure. So this home has been in the owner's family for multiple generations. The owner wants to continue the tradition of raising a family in this home, but to do so, they need to expand the livable space. The proposed design consists of a shallow front window bump out, a rear 2-story addition, and a covered backyard deck. The home will have 3 bedrooms, a home office, and sufficient living space for a family of 5. This is very common renovation for this neighborhood. and specifically on Coates Avenue, where several houses have been granted building length and building depth variances. The proposed design will be very similar in scale to its semi-detached neighbor at 22 Coates Avenue. It's my opinion that the variances are minor, are in keeping with the neighborhood, and meet the 4 tests of the Planning Act. We did speak with the neighbor at 26A Coates, so we're aware that they're concerned about the shading, and I don't know if that's the speaker that's here to oppose, or if it's somebody else, but we did speak with them, and we're willing to work with them, potentially on revising some things to maybe limit the shading, like reducing the roof slope, for example, but yeah, that's it.
Okay, thanks. And no, that's not the speaker. It's the other adjacent neighbor at 22. Okay, so I'm going to move to the speakers, and then I'll have you back to speak to any of the issues raised. All right, do you have Anna Maria on the line?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Anna Maria Ferraro. I am speaking on behalf of my father, Francesco Ferraro, who lives at 22 Coates Avenue.
Okay, and just before you start, I just would like to let you know that the committee only deals with the actual planning variances. I remember reading something about a sewer pipe in one of the submissions, so we don't have jurisdiction over any of those kinds of things. We're strictly here for the variances. But I'm going to start the clock now. You have 5 minutes, okay?
Okay, so that's good to know about the sewer line. We are just expressing our concerns because of the fact that we are a semi-detached home with 24 Coates Avenue, and we were just wanting to address our concerns about what they were planning to do and how it would affect my father's property. So you did address the issue about the sewer, so I guess we'll have to figure out what to do with that, considering that the issue with the sewer deals with the fact that both homes are at a lower, like both homes are located at a low point and have flooding issues. Both homes have flooding issues even in the past. And this has become an extreme past problem. And even in the houses that they created in the streets, they had gotten approval to create a separate sewer line to hope and to support those homes considering. But as you said, that is something that you guys do not address, so that just brings out, I would have to figure out what the concern would be for that. The other concern is the factor of, as I said, they are low point homes. And so the other concern is about the structure of the home in the back when they're doing the digging. The ground, when they're digging, will find that it is wet and that it is not stable. And they can cause, for instance, when they are going to dig, the structural damage of the dwelling for 22 Coates Avenue. And this is one of the biggest concerns that we have. And we find that if they're proposing the variances and when they're going to be creating the addition of the home, it will cause foundation issues for the adjacent home, which is literally attached to it. And that's basically the concerns that we wanted to bring forth.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, that is a building department would look at all those things. Again, this committee is concerned with the planning merits of the application. So, you know, building does do an inspection, and usually there's grading plans, but perhaps the applicant or the agent can speak to this. But we don't have any jurisdiction over the issues you raised, although I do understand they're important issues. So I'm going to have the agent, actually, no, I have one more speaker before I bring the agent back. But before I do that, panel members, do you have any questions of the speaker? No? Okay. Do you have the next speaker on the line?
Lauren.
Hi, I think that's...
Hi.
Yeah, my name is Lauren Rembach. I live at 18 Coates Avenue.
Okay, Lauren, go ahead. I've started the clock. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, well, thank you for your time, and I was able to hear the last comment, and I just kind of wanted to echo the same thing. And I heard your comments that the sewage is not something that you guys cover, and I share that same concern. So I'll follow up where I need to in terms of making sure the sewage is a concern that we can follow up with.
Yeah, you could maybe give Public Works a call, go through 311, and perhaps they can connect you with somebody who can, speak to some of the infrastructure issues that you have concerns over.
Okay, thank you for the suggestion.
Although I will add that these applications are circulated to all the city departments, and we don't have any comments from them. But, feel free to speak to the department.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Do I have the agent on the line?
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Hi, anything you want to add with respect to what you just heard?
Yeah, I just want to let the neighbors know that we will be doing soil tests. We will be getting shoring done. That's going to be engineered when we do the excavating. So there really shouldn't be any concern with the foundation itself. It'll be fully engineered, so there's no worry there. And of course, the city will inspect that as well. And then with the sewage, if that's a known concern on the street, we should all, team up together and work toward getting that resolved. I think obviously the more people who are willing to voice their concerns on specifically the sewage, the better. And yeah, that's all.
Okay, and perhaps in good faith, you can just communicate with some of the neighbors, just to let them know what's going on, and if they have any questions, answer them. Okay, panel members, let's take...
definitely.
Yeah, great, thanks. Panel members, let's take it into committee. Mr. Reid.
Thanks. When I initially saw this, I was kind of surprised. Like it's a very, very large addition. But I was surprised also how few variances were needed and how small the variances are. I think a lot of them are because of the nature of the lot, and so you've got pinch points with setbacks, and they're really quite minor given the magnitude of the construction. I was also surprised to hear that the neighbors don't have significant issues with the belt form being proposed. It was more construction issues. So I think given all that, I would support this application, and if my colleagues have nothing else to add, I would move a motion to approve with no conditions.
Okay, Mr. Bayat seconds, so motion to approve, moved by Mr. Reid, seconded by Mr. Bayat. All in favor? Okay, your application has been unanimously approved. Thank you. Item number 34, 1 Minto Street. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have 2 photographs of trees, covering letter from Mr. Galbraith, the agent, previous decisions affecting the subject property, as well as a copy of an urban forestry permit application. We have, I'm showing here, TRCA, although TRCA, they require a permit but have no concerns. Planning has a condition, forestry is asking for condition number 3, and there are 11 form letters in support. And that's it. Do I have Mr. Galbraith on the line?
Good evening.
Hi, you're still with us. Second time today.
Yes, I am. Sean
Okay.
Galbraith, planner here on behalf of the application.
Okay, thanks. Let me see if the
You're
panel
welcome.
needs a presentation. Anybody, a presentation? Any questions for Mr. Galbraith? Seeing none? Okay, we've read the material. We're ready to go into committee. Is there anything you want to add before we go into committee?
Just wanted to thank you for your work on a very difficult day today.
Thanks a
Good
lot.
luck with the rest of the agenda.
And thanks for your patience and everybody else.
it's no trouble.
It's been a long day. Okay, we'll take it
I can
into...
only imagine.
Yeah, we'll take it into committee then. All righty, Mr. Bayat.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I when I first looked at this application, I was a bit thrown, because I couldn't quite to get my head around as to where the house was and the garage in the front and so on and so forth. But having looked at the various Google Maps and the application materials, this is indeed a very unusual situation, and a rather creative approach to utilizing the garage in the front. This is almost like a laneway suite in reverse. So I personally don't have any difficulty in wanting to move a motion to accept this application as is.
Okay, anybody else? Ms. Hayes?
I would just echo what my colleague said, and I think that the characteristics of this lot are unique. We have had other applications before the committee for similar variances, but with lots that aren't the same configuration, where my thoughts would not be to support them. So I just want to note that my support is really linked to the very uniqueness of this lot, and I'm not certain that we would see this type of configuration, or I haven't seen this type of configuration anywhere else. So I just put that sort of caution on the support.
Mr. Reid?
I agree with both the colleagues' comments. I just wanted to add to here, there's community planning condition and an urban forestry condition 3.
Correct.
To add to that.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would also just like to commend the applicant for pursuing this, which is a very unconventional approval, but I think it makes sense. One that might not have been clearly supportable from an initial view. So compliments.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, anybody want to move a motion? Mr. Bayat?
I'll move the motion, Madam Chair, to approve the application with the planning conditions submitted by planning staff and forestry condition, I believe it's number 3.
Okay, do I have a seconder? All right, motion to approve, including forestry condition number 3, conditions in the planning report dated November 24th, moved by Mr. Bayat, seconded by Mr. Reid. All in favor? Your application's been unanimously approved. Thank you. And the next item is item number 3540 London Street. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. Forestry is asking for condition number 1. We have 9 form letters in support from 65 London, as well as residents on Palmerston Avenue. And I believe that's all the correspondence. I don't have any speakers listed on this one. Do I have the agent on the line?
Hello, once again. My name is Monty Oliveira. I'm the agent on behalf of 40 London Street. I'm with Replacement Design located at 911 Davenport Road. I promise this is the last one for you today.
Okay, well, hello again. I don't think we need a presentation. Panel members, do you have any questions for the agent? Ms. Hayes.
Just a couple. I might have missed it, but I didn't see it on the documents. What's the existing FSI?
So the existing FSI is 1.3. So we're really talking about a difference between the existing of 0.35 or 47.86 square meters.
And just one other question. Do you have any examples of other rooftop decks in the area?
Of similar, like, setbacks? But
no, with respect to the height, but also that you're asking, that's to facilitate the stair enclosure to allow for a rooftop deck. So is that something that exists in the neighborhood?
So there actually is a rooftop deck on top of the second story of the house directly beside us. So that's 593 Palmerston. That has a similar kind of setback as we're proposing, except because of the shape of our lot, their setback would be to the side of the property and not the rear. As you can see with our proposed site plan, our lot is awfully short. So pretty much anything we would do would have side yard setback, rear yard setback variances. In this case, the existing house is almost right to the rear property line. And we also have support from the neighbor directly to the rear. So if there was anyone who had major concerns about privacy or the fact that we didn't have much of a setback, it would be them, and they're fully aware of the project and signed a letter in support as well.
Ms. Valentini.
So as I understand it, though, the addition, and I'm assuming the part where the rooftop deck is going to be, it's a budding, well, I think there's a lane there, but there's a park directly across from that? It's not going to be up against the neighbors, right?
Yeah, so the space beside us is actually a park/school. I believe it's an extension of Fraser College.
Okay.
So we do have a lane in between us and that college/park. And the property that's directly behind us, the extension is kind of in line with their backyard. It's not actually right against their house. They're on Palmerston, so we're just kind of abutting their backyard.
Any further questions? Okay. Okay, Mr. De Oliveira, we're ready to take this into committee. Anything you want to add that wasn't in the submissions?
No, I think I pointed out it's just an odd-shaped lot, so we have trouble with any kind of setback. The front yard setback goes almost right to the very rear of the property as is, so we're going to get the usual conditions with any kind of front yard setback.
Okay,
deck steps. So I think it's in line with other approvals in the area.
All right, we'll take it into committee for a decision then. Panel members, Ms. Valentini.
Thank you. Looking at initially when you look at the application, you see sort of some of these numbers and you're like, well, that's something. But I'm satisfied in terms of the size of the lot and its location, where the addition's placed. I don't feel that it's going to have a significant impact, if any, on any of the neighbors. As I had noted, the location of the addition is going to abut the rear lot of one, as I guess Mr. Oliveira mentioned, it's going to abut the rear lot of that one particular neighbor. So that's I think where parking is. And as well, on the other side, there's a lane and the park. So I don't really see the addition or the deck having any significant impact on any of the neighbors. And the FSI is already well over. So I think this addition is modest in terms of the existing built form in the neighborhood, and I'm in support of the application. And I'd like to bring forward a motion for approval with subject to urban forestry condition number 1.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Three at the same time again. Who wants to move, second it? Okay, Mr. Bayat. All right, motion to approve, including forestry condition number 1, moved by Ms. Valentini, seconded by Mr. Bayat. My chair, what happened to it? Okay, all in favor? Okay, the application's been unanimously approved.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Okay, I'm just going to switch chairs because it just popped by itself. Give me a second. Is like unbelievable. Okay. Oh, this chair is even more. Okay, whatever. All right. Okay, folks, Murphy's Law. Everything's going wrong today. Okay, item number 36, 75 Woodlawn Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have presentation materials submitted by the agent. We have an arborist report prepared by Cohen and Master Tree and Shrub Services. We have a staff report from Forestry that's asking for condition number 1, and correspondence in support from number 71. And I don't have any opposition speakers listed. Do I have the agent on the line?
My name is Gloria Apostolou. I'm an architect and agent for the owner.
Hi, you're speaking on behalf of the owner because I have them listed as speakers here?
Yes.
Okay. Panel members, do you need a presentation? If not, do you have any questions? Mr. Bayat. How do you fix this? How do you stop it from...
Just a quick question with regard to the variance speaks to landscaping. Sorry, I'm just trying to see which one. I think it's the last one, number 7.
Yes.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Yes, I'm here. I hear you.
Okay, did you hear the...
I'm having difficulty hearing you, though.
Yes, I heard the question perfectly clear.
Okay. Do you have an answer then? Because we didn't hear it.
Oh, yes. Sorry. The question was about the front yard landscaping. We are not able to add any additional landscaping to the front because there is a front yard parking agreement that we have to maintain. We did try to add some landscape, but that was then triggering variances because we were out of the existing footprint. So we looked at ways of adding planters, more greenery around the city tree, and it wasn't possible in regards to the parking agreement that's already been approved for the site. And that the parking spot has to stay exactly that size and location.
Thank you.
Any other questions, panel members? Okay, Ms. Apostolou, Lou, we're ready to go into committee. We have no questions. We've read the materials. Is there anything you want to add that's not in the submissions?
Only that we have 4 letters of support. You mentioned 1, but we do have more.
Okay. So with that, panel members, let's take it into committee. Mr. Reid.
Thanks. I think this is a nice project. It's a modest addition to one of the smaller houses on the street, and I think that it's mapped in a way that that prevents negative impacts on the neighbors. And I think the variances themselves are quite small. So I think this is a minor application that's being put forward, and I think supportable. So I move to approve subject to urban forestry condition 1.
Okay, Ms. Valentini seconds. So motion to approve, including the forestry condition, moved by Mr. Reid, seconded by Ms. Valentini. All in favor? The application's been unanimously approved. Thank you. Item number 37, 633 Old Weston Road. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. Presentation materials from Lena Rodriguez, the agent. We have 13 form letters in support signed by owners and occupants of residents on Old Weston Road. And a late submission, another form letter in support signed by, the owners of 635 Old Weston, which is adjacent. Okay, do I have the agent on the line?
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the committee.
Hi, and your name for the record?
Lena Rodriguez, and address is 504 Perth Avenue, Toronto.
Thank you. Panel members, we have 2 variances before us. I don't think we need a presentation. Do you have any questions of the agent? Seeing none, Ms. Rodriguez, we've read all the materials. We are ready to take this into committee for a decision. Is there anything you want to add before we go into committee?
No, thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, we're in committee, panel members. Mr. Bayat.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This application is fairly straightforward, minimal requirements. I am completely comfortable moving a motion to approve the application as is.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Ms. Hayes? So motion to approve moved by Mr. Bayat, seconded by Ms. Hayes. All in favor? Your application's been unanimously approved. Thank you. Item number 38, 346 Lauder Avenue. We have before us copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. No further correspondence. We have, I'm showing 3 speakers. Do you have everybody there?
3, Madam Chair. We have 2 of the 3.
Okay, who do you not have then?
We tried contacting Ivan Solorzano and we couldn't reach him.
Okay. Can I just, before I go to the agent, I just want to see if we need a presentation or not.
Sure.
So is this Elliot?
Elliot Warsh, I have unmuted you.
Hi, Elliot.
Yes.
Hi, are you speaking to this, are you speaking in opposition or are you just listening?
Yep. I'm speaking in opposition.
Okay. And can you go to the next one? Just want to.
Yep, I have John Mello unmuted.
Hi, John.
Yeah, hi.
Same.
I just got a quick.
Yeah, just this. Are you speaking in?
If you want to.
Are you speaking in opposition, or you just have a quick question?
I got just a little question, concern type of thing.
Okay, so I'll come back to you then. I'm going to have the applicant do a presentation, okay, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, do I have the agent on the line?
Good evening.
Hi, and can I have your name for the record, please?
Khalid Ibrahim, 3908 White Creek Drive, Mississauga.
Great. So I do have one speaker in opposition and then another one who has potentially a question. So if you can do a presentation, no more than 5 minutes. I'm going to start the clock now.
Sure. My name is Khalid Ibrahim. I'm the architect and the agent for 346 Lauder Avenue. We are proposing 2-story additions above the existing 1-story house and converting them to 2 secondary suites. We are asking a relief of 4 variances. Number 1, our proposed FSI is 1.06 times the lot area, while the permitted is 1 times the lot area. Number 2, the interior floor area of all secondary suites is 45.5%, while the permitted area is 45%. And number 3, we are alternating the front wall by adding the 2nd and 3rd stories for the secondary suites. Number 4, the proposed exterior main wall height is 9.73 meters, while the permitted height is 8.5 meters. Number 5, the proposed eaves is 0.17 from the lot line. And actually, this is existing 1-story house eaves because we are building on the same footprint. So we believe that our application meets the full test. Thank you.
Okay. All right, let's go to Mr. Warsh then, and I'll have you back after you listen to the opposition to speak to the concerns that are raised. Hi, Elliot, are you there?
I am here.
Okay, I just need you to identify yourself for the record, name and address, and then I'll start the clock and you'll have 5 minutes.
Okay, my name is Elliot Warsh, live at 350 Lauder.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm a little under the weather tonight, so if you don't mind, my partner Daniela will talk for me.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I'm going to need whoever it is just to state their name.
Yep, my name is Daniela Gold.
Okay, Daniela.
350 Lauder. Mm-hmm.
Did you say Daniela Gold, as in G-O-L-D?
Yeah, Gold.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay.
All right, go ahead.
So I have quite a number of concerns. I've spoken with a number of neighbors, but my major concerns are that this is a very narrow lot and a very deep building. The addition is far greater than anything else on the street or in the area. It's much too much square footage, especially because it's a 3-story building with no step back whatsoever. The change in FSI is enormous. The plans that were shared online show actually a 4-unit rather than a 3-unit as it's being claimed. There are, in fact, 4 laundry areas, 1 on each floor. There are 4 kitchens, 1 being stated as, a wet bar. It's very, very clear that the occupancy numbers will be quite high. That's a big concern. There are a lot of rentals already in the area that are vacant. There's signs everywhere, just a couple of blocks over. And there's a real lack of homes for sale, as everyone knows. And this is a perfect neighborhood for people who are just starting out to buy and start, living their life as a family in the area. There are very few neighborhoods in Toronto that can accommodate that at this price point. And so we're taking away the opportunity of home ownership from people, and we're adding rental inventory that is not required in the area. There's so many things. The balconies overlook the poor neighbor next door who's got this tiny little brick house, bungalow. The second and third floor balconies overlook the lot next door. There's just no privacy for them at all. And what else is there? Also, the truth is it doesn't look anything like, this proposed building doesn't look anything like anything else in the area. So my concerns are about, how compatible it is with the look of the area, with the feel of the area, but more importantly, the size of this gargantuan build.
Okay, thank you very much. Panel members, any questions of the speaker? Seeing none. Okay, can I have John on the line?
Yeah, actually, a couple of little things. As far as the basement.
Sorry, John, before you get started, can you just identify yourself, name and address for the record?
Okay, it's John Mello, 348 Lauder.
Great, thanks. I'll restart the clock.
Okay, now a quick question regarding the basement. Is that a future? Seems to me like exactly. It seems like it's a 3-story, but it looks like it's going to be like 4 apartments. If that's the intention. And the other one that was mentioned is regarding the privacy issue on the second and third balcony that faces north, which is basically just looking right into the backyard. Is it possible to perhaps a screening of some sort, like blocking that view on the north side of that balcony? That's all for me.
Okay, well, let's ask the applicant. I mean, the application is to change from 1 dwelling unit into 3 dwelling units. That's the purpose, but I'll have them speak to the screening also. Okay. All right, Mr. Ibrahim, are you there?
Yes, I am.
So can you speak to the issues raised and also a potential condition for screening on the balconies?
Absolutely, no problem. So regarding the concerns of the first speaker, so actually we are building on top of the existing footprint. So we are not adding any depth to the house. Even if you look at the site plan, the second and the third story additions are even shorter than the existing house. So in order to meet the building depth. So I believe we are within the same footprint of the existing house. The other thing is the height. Is the maximum permitted height is 10 meters, and we comply with that with this number. And also, it is permitted by the zoning is to have 3 units in the house, in the building. So we still comply with those aspects. Regarding the concerns of the basement, so as proposed is the primary unit is going to be the main floor and the basement. And then the 2 secondary units will be on the 2nd floor and the 3rd floor. So for the balcony that overlooking the neighbor, so actually we added the balcony because of the new health requirements just in case if there is any lockdown. So now the amenities is highly required for this type of buildings. So this is why we are proposing these two balconies. However, I agree with Mr. John about the screening. Absolutely, we can provide the screening on that side to give more privacy. Thank you.
So that would be on the north side?
Yes, we can do that. Yeah.
Okay, on the rear balconies. Okay.
Yes, on this side, on the north side, yes.
Okay, to 1.5 meters. Okay. Panel members, do you have any questions for the agent? Okay, we have no further questions, so we're ready to go into committee. Panel members? Ms. Hayes.
Thank you. Although this is going to be a larger home, the variances being requested are indeed minor. The use is permitted. I would agree with the comments with respect to screening on the balconies, but I am supportive of this application. And if my colleagues have no further comments, I would like to move a motion to approve the application with the condition that the balconies have screening to 1.5 meters in height on each, which sides? On the
North side.
North side.
Okay. Do I have a seconder? Mr. Bayat. So motion to approve with the condition outlined by Ms. Hayes for screening on the north side. Moved by Ms. Hayes, seconded by Mr. Bayat. All in favor? Okay, your application's been unanimously approved with that condition. Okay. Next item is number 39, 819 Gladstone Avenue. We have before us a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a previous decision affecting this property, one form letter in support from number 813 Gladstone, and I am not showing any speakers listed other than the agent. Do I have the agent on the line?
Yes, my name is Jason Fung, the architect based in Toronto.
Okay. Panel members, do you have any questions for the agent? No? Okay, Mr. Fung, we've read all the materials. We don't have any questions. We're ready to go into committee. Is there anything you want to add that's not in the submissions?
Yeah, this is more of a case of just correcting a bit of human error. The zoning examiner accidentally missed the FSI variance. So this is why we're back here. So the design for you is exactly as approved from August 25th, 2021. Yep.
Okay. Panel members, we're in committee. Ms. Valentini.
As we heard, this is just correcting a misvariance from an application that was previously approved. So in my view, this makes sense. The built form of it was approved in any event. So I'd like to bring a motion for approval of the application without any conditions.
Okay, that's seconded by Mr. Bayat. So motion to approve, moved by Ms. Valentini, seconded by Mr. Bayat. All in favor? The application's been unanimously approved. Before we go to our final time slot, I'd like to take 5, if that's okay, just to stretch our legs. Yeah, I see a lot of yeses. So we'll be back, well, in 5 minutes, I guess, or we can make it 7 minutes. That way it'll be 8:40. I don't know what happened to that chair, but that was weird. Okay, we're on the home stretch.
Nancy, your mic's still on.
Thanks.
Madam Chair, we're going to have to switch over the YouTube feed just because we're coming up on 3 hours, if that's okay.
Okay, fingers crossed, everyone. We'll be back in a minute.
Fingers crossed. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, we're going to switch over the YouTube feed. So this one is going to end, and on the city's Committee of Adjustment YouTube City Planning channel, you can find Committee of Adjustment Public Hearing Toronto and East York, December 1st, 2021, and then in brackets PM Part 3. So again, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, the feed's about to end. You can find the PM session Part 3 on the City Planning Toronto YouTube channel.